is the Dr. Schultz band, had no relation to me, bluegrass concert in Anchorage at West High School. And we just loved bluegrass music, so we were there. It turns out there was a benefit concert for Colonel Norman Vaughn, who was planning on running the race in this was 79, so in 1980, I think is when he was running. So in any case, a bunch of famous mushers stood up. Somebody on stage talked about the race and went, the Iditarod's cool, and I'm going, what's the Iditarod? And they introduced Joe Redington Sr., and he stood up about from me to you away, just one row down and a couple of seats over. And my girlfriend Joan leaned over and said, doesn't he have a kind face? And I was a wedding and portrait photographer at the time, 1979. I was 19 years old, just starting my business. And I thought to myself, he has a kind face, he's a famous Alaskan. I've just moved up here a year ago. Maybe I could take a portrait of this guy. And I'm thinking in my mind, he's got a sled shop where he's building sleds and there's sawdust on the floor and the light's going to stream in and there'll be harnesses hanging up. And just something I'm totally not used to. It'd be a really cool portrait of this guy. And I take his picture and I blow it up and I put it in my studio and I go, and people look at that and go, wow, you shot Joe Redington. Maybe you should take my portrait. I thought I could business with him. It would help business. So I wrote Joe a literal letter back in 79 before all this email stuff. And he replied and said, I'm out on the trail, write me in May or something. So I wrote him back and he said, okay, come on out. So I go out to his place in Kenai and I drive up the hill and there's no log cabin. There's 3 mobile homes there. And I knocked on his door and he pops his head out with his hat askew as I came to find out he always did. And he said, hey, how you doing? You want a cup of tea? Sure, let's have a cup of tea. I open the door to walk in, or he opens the door, and there's literally no place to set a cup of tea on the. Has anybody here met Joe Sr.? Okay. If you've been to his house, they kept every piece of mail, whether it was junk mail or not. And there's stacks of newspapers and junk mail, everything everywhere. Just unbelievable. In any case, Joe was the kind of guy who just wanted to get everybody involved with Iditarod. So he told me about the Iditarod. He told me about his life, taking crashed airplanes off the mountains with the Army. A whole bunch of stories, and I'm just going, wow, this is great. He took me over to another trailer that was crammed full, and he showed me in living color on Kodachrome film pictures that he took of all this stuff, the plane crashes, the homesteading on Flathorn Lake and all this stuff. And I was just fascinated. I just moved to Alaska and that's what I wanted to do. Build a log cabin, live off the land. Anyway, he said, well, there's no better adventure than running the Iditarod. I've got 100 dogs here, pick 20 of them and have a good day. I don't think I'm quite ready for that. So he said, well, then come take pictures for us. I said, okay, I can do that. So I got in touch with Dick Mackey, who was the race manager at the time. He said, well, we don't really want to have people hitchhiking anymore on the trail, but there's this guy, this Dr. Dennis, who wants to fly Iditarod. I think he might be interested. So I contacted this Dennis, and he said, if you pay for my gas and oil, we'll go. So I had about $350 that I could spare, and that got me as far as McGrath. And the pilot really wanted to see the town of Iditarod, the ghost town of Iditarod. So he said, I'll pay for that gas and oil. So we had no clue what we were doing. I mean, literally no clue. We slept under a spruce tree on Farewell Lake one of the nights, which I wouldn't even dream about doing now because there's a cabin not very far away. So that was my first introduction to Iditarod. After the race was over, I donated the photos to Dorothy Page, who was the mother of the Iditarod, and she said, if you do that next year, you can come back as one of our official photographers and we'll pay for your gas and oil. As long as you pay for all your filming process and you just donate photos, come on back. So that's what it was, just not even a handshake deal. We just did it. So now, 35 years later, I came out with this book, Chasing Dogs. I've had many books published on my work on it.